Hi guys, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. When we complain about illegal discrimination, some employers start coming for us right away. And the best thing we can do about retaliation, harassment, and hostile workplace is document it. Most of us already know that, but what we don't know in the beginning is how to document it. Now, most of you who have been in the community a while know that I did it by asking a lot of bold questions. So today I wanted to give you some details about how questioning can work for you. In the beginning, I was pretty timid about questioning NASA's illegal activity. I was afraid that if I questioned them too pointedly, it might aggravate them and ruin my chances at any kind of resolution. But once it was clear to me that NASA was trying to fire me, I thought, how could I possibly make that worse? So I decided, no guts, no glory. And I got very bold about documenting what they were doing. First, I want to go over a couple of ground rules that can make the difference between successfully documenting the shady behavior and having it backfire on you. First, EEOC doesn't excuse insubordination, ever. So even though I lost all respect for my boss, I still had to respect her position, or she would have been justified in firing me. And a few other tips. Do it in writing. Question actions, choices, and processes, not people. And always be professional. Now, I was pretty good at asking questions before the discrimination. The same questions that I asked in my EEOC fight were the same ones that I had used as a technical manager for years to document what was happening on my projects. When people weren't being honest or forthright with me, when they were dragging their feet or being evasive, I had to confront that stuff in ways that were clear and direct, but not confrontational. To my surprise, bold questioning and writing didn't escalate the situation. They actually backed off quite a bit. They still didn't reasonably accommodate me, but they let up on the harassment a little bit and stopped threatening to fire me. Now, some questions are off limits for employees. Our bosses can do a lot of things without our permission. They're the boss. But when what they're doing is illegal or harming us in some way, there are also plenty of questions that we can ask without setting ourselves up for an insubordination charge. So now let's talk some details about the kinds of situations that I found questions were most effective in, the kinds of questions that I asked, and how I asked them. Hopefully it'll help you figure out how to adapt the bold questioning technique so that you can document your own situation. First, let's look at double binds. My boss loved putting me in double binds. For example, she loved giving me assignments that required me to interfere with somebody else's work. She'd do things like asking a peer to go work out an agreement with another group, for example. And then after she approved whatever they came up with, she'd try to send me back after the fact to tweak their agreement. If I didn't do it, I was being insubordinate. If I did, I was stepping on a colleague's toes and risking a conflict that my boss could spin against me into a conduct problem. Being put in positions like that caused a lot of unnecessary stress for me, so I learned to challenge her on them. I found the combination of expressing my confusion and asking her to clarify her expectations worked magic. Hey, you asked me to do this thing, and I'm not sure what to do since this isn't my project, so could you please clarify what you expect of me? It's okay to ask questions like that. Most of the time, my boss didn't answer, so I didn't have to do anything. When she did answer, I had her orders in writing, so any conflict was on her. That took me out of the catch-22 and put it where it belonged, on her. False accusations, or taking inappropriate action against you. My boss accused me of all kinds of things that I didn't do. For instance, she'd say, I didn't give you permission to spend this budget, or to talk to that person outside the department. I rarely did anything without my boss's permission, and I could usually prove that. But sometimes her accusations were totally fabricated, and those were the hard ones. For those situations, I used could you please share a lot. I don't think my performance ratings are consistent with putting me on a PIP. Could you please share how you decided that was an appropriate course of action? Could you please share when my time and attendance became such a problem for you? Could you please share why you didn't discuss those concerns with me before I requested reasonable accommodation? When something affects us, we have the right to ask questions like that. NASA did so many things that were not allowed by official policy, and I tried to document all the violations that I could. My boss told me that she had the power to keep me from using my sick leave, even in cases where I had documentation that I was really sick. Now, I knew those things were BS, but rather than saying so outright and risking an ugly confrontation, could you please direct me to the policy that allows that, because I can't find it. Sometimes they actually backed down, but even when they didn't, I documented the policy violation. Policy violations are red flags at EEOC that indicate pretext, supervisory incompetence, or some other big management problem. When our boss is using a rule against us, we have the right to know where that rule came from. I know how scary it is to do something that your boss isn't going to like. And believe me, they're not going to like being questioned, especially in writing. But sometimes if you don't risk upsetting them, you're just setting yourself up to fail. What's worse? For me, the choice was simple. I chose my health, my rights, my family, my career, me. That's the rational choice, and there's no shame in it, especially when the law is on our side. That's what I got this week, guys. I'll see you again next week. Till then, take care and hang in. Fight smart and hang in to win.